I'm happy to be here amongst men discussing money. I think it's a bit dicey. Why I had asked Robin that we have a nice balance is because, as you can see, his own devils are white sana. You can see. So there are men of experience here with us who also have a part to play within this talk, right? So this is not more about me telling you guys everything. This is all about us guys sharing, exchanging, learning, and growing together. How does that sound? So, right? Okay, cool. So without further ado, winning with money. How to get and stay financially healthy in every season in life. Every season in life. Here, everyone is in a different season, right? We are not all in the same season. But we're under one economic condition. Things are hard now, right? Things are difficult, they're not the easiest. So how do we navigate this thing of money? As leaders in society, as men, how do we do this? Quick disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer. I don't have a license. I cannot sell you insurance. I cannot recommend a bank to you, right? All this is to help empower with financial frameworks and principles, okay? Let's start there. Educational and informational purposes only, all right? And of course, there's a stage I've not reached in my life. I can see Paul's there. He's in a different stage than me, right? So that's the disclaimer I wanted to give before I started. About me, thanks, Robin, for the introduction. I started a business in China when I was 24, teaching English. It worked really well. I used to work in a pizza shop in Sydney, and I started my own business called the Digital Monkeys. Any advertisements you see about Shell, Carrefour, we used to advertise for them. MultiChoice, current client, if anyone here is on DSTV Showmax, and Weetabix. So that's just a bit of an introduction, and I'm an entrepreneur. My background is in finance. So I understand a thing about money. And again, as I said, we're here to learn from each other and grow each other as well. Today's objective, true or false, guys, true or false. Most men are one crisis away from financial stress if we're not already struggling. True or false? There's no false here. There's no false. False. Why do you say false? Kind sir, what's your name? Gordon. Yeah.
It depends on your stage in life. As for business
Okay. It may not apply to you. And there are certain things you've done. There are certain ways you behaved to get to the place where you are now. Right? For the guys who said true, this applies? Most men. Let's talk about the men in this room. Robin said, the men in this room. The men in this room. Are we one crisis away from financial stress? So we've had a no from Gordon. Let's say today, is anyone working? Anyone working? Show of hands. If you lost your job today, how long can you survive? 3 months? 6 months? 6 to a year? Wewe ndo unafaa kupeana hii talk. Wewe ndo unafaa kuwapa ukipeana hii talk. A month? 6 months to a year? 3 to 6 months? Anyone underneath that? Most. In this room. Okay, so maybe let me not call it out like that. Maybe people are not so comfortable talking about it. But there's an important point that Gordon has raised here. And I want to cover it by saying my objective is to show you that financial peace and stability is less about luck. And it's more about behavior. It's a lot more about behavior. Luck has a part to play because there are some places you can be in a situation where luck befalls you and you're ready. But there are certain things you'll have to have done before that. And the good thing is, it's in our control. It's in each and every person's control, right? So by the end of this talk, we'll have where you stand, even if it's not publicly declared, like we've put up our hands and said, yeah, I'm good. What to do next and how to stay financially stable. Am I on brief? Am I on brief? Tunasonga? Okay. So let's be real. This one is just show of hands. Are you in debt? How bad is it on a scale of 1 to 10? Anyone? Show of hands. We're not getting that vulnerable today. We're not getting that deep today. It's a bit light. A thought here, right? On a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being, what? I don't know how to deal with this thing. 1 being, I'm good. 10 being, things are tough. Do you have an emergency fund? 2 people have mentioned it. Do we know what an emergency fund is? Stability of income. Does it exist? When was the last time you read a book, took a course, tried to improve your skills? When was the last time? This year? Last year? Currently doing it. Fantastic. Let's give him a round of applause, guys. Do you have medical insurance? Too deep? Investments of any kind? Plot. That's good. That's a start. Yeah. That's good. It's a plot. Loosen up kidogo, guys. It's an afternoon. Yeah. You have debt, yes. Yes. Take it as it is. Then there's the scale of 1 to 10. Because if it's a mortgage, you know how you're dealing with it, right? There you go. And are you managing that loan on a scale of 1 to 10? Some things we need to think about when it comes to money. Because all these things tie in somewhere. Right? What we believe influences our behaviors. Yeah? Each and every belief we have here influence what we do. Right? And you know what? Behaviors form the basis of our habits. And funny enough, if I can tell you one thing that's absolutely true, and I encourage debate, proper financial management comes down to behavior. Comes down to behavior. We can debate that if you guys are happy to do it. So behaviors form the basis of our habits. And we need to build the habits that enable us to be financially healthy, which is a season of life we're in. Agree, disagree? Agree, disagree? Agree. Okay. All right. 3 seasons of a man's life. This was very hard for me because I'm only in one of these seasons. But they're not absolute. So you can see here there's the foundation. Right? There's growth and there's legacy. We are not all in the same place at the same time. Okay? These are rough estimates. Foundation phase, I was told we have a nice mix of people here. I can see it. 20 to 35. There are certain things we need to do in this phase. It's not the same as the growth phase. It's a different phase that we'll all be in. And for the people who are in their legacy phase, right? Number 3, by the way, if I came up here and spoke to you about it, I don't think you'd believe me. It is not possible. Hence, I will invite a few people. As we get there, tell us about this legacy phase. That's why everyone on the table, we have someone in a legacy phase. Okay? Hapa na wadanganya. Mani ukweli. True story. The only thing here is, when you come to look at these ages, they're not absolute. Right? You could be in your foundation phase and you're 40. Yeah? You could be in your grade phase and you're 28. It happens. And you could be legacy by 45. Winning in life kabisa. You know. But it's just 3 general categories that talk to us about where we are and what we need to do in each phase to go back to where we need to behave, how we need to behave to build the habits that leave us financially healthy. Let's talk about the foundation phase, phase 1, 20 to 35. Build habits that shape your financial destiny. This is the most important. It's foundation. See our guy here, discipline, saving, skills, consistency. At this stage in life, we need to learn. That's why I asked that question. Who has read a book, done a course, improved their skill in one way or another in the past year, 6 months? At this stage when you're building your foundation as a man, because skills are what are tied to income, right? If you don't have the skills, it doesn't matter. And in today's world, it's not the same. If we think about how the world was 10 years ago, if you did a prestigious course like medicine and you were graduating 10 years ago, do you think you'd have the chance of getting a job? Yeah? But if you do that now, how many unemployed doctors do we know? Wako wengi. They're on the streets. Huh? Saving before you spend. And this is not just like, anecdotal talk. Saving before you spend means pesa ikiingia account, you remove it fast. That's the first thing. Behavior, action, right? Save before you spend. Lifestyle debt. I think we all know a thing or two about lifestyle debt. What kind of car do you drive compared to your peers? Where do you live? We're all measuring ourselves in one way or another, right? We're all competing, especially as men. Especially as men. It's a real thing, right? And for the people who are already here, congratulations. Build an emergency fund. But the first layer is always going to be skills at this stage. Skills are our economic and financial engine, right? Whatever it's going to be at, skills are our financial engine. And you can't save your way to wealth if your income doesn't grow. Kweli rongo? I feel like here there's a bit of a debate. Do you think you can save your way to wealth if your income doesn't grow? You cannot. It's not possible. Anyone think it's possible? Anyone think it's possible? Padre? Do you think it's possible? It is. Let's, yeah. Yes, you can. And that's budgeting. But will that get you wealthy? Wealthy. Not surviving. Do you think it will get you to wealth?
Depends on what you're doing with the savings.
Also depending on the level of income, because there's already an income.
Yes.
There is a certain level, even without increase for 5 to 10 years, you're saving and investing significantly.
Yes.
Because of the level of income, even if it saves.
Yes. I agree with that. But wealth, survival and thriving, wealth is the question here.
What's the other definition of wealth? What is it? What will probably get you to wealth is not the saving, it's the investment. Yes. It's the investment.
So
it is your first step. So there's no investment without saving. Can you say that?
yeah, go for it. Yeah. That's wisdom. That's why we are sitting like the way we are sitting. That's wisdom. Here's the premise I'm trying to throw at you. That's why this is in quotes. Your income determines your savings. We're on the same page there. It determines the savings. if you are at break even, it's very difficult to save, right? The fastest way to wealth is to increase your income and increase the savings rate at the same time, right? So let's give a simple example. You have 10,000 bob that you earn every month. Let's say by some miracle and hard work, you're able to get to 100K. If your savings rate is 10%, what do you think will happen to your investments? The same strategy, all else held constant. At 10K, you're saving 1,000 bob, right? At 100K, you're saving 10K. Wealth. So we also need to think about the income side, right? Income. The more income we have and we control our expenses, then we're in a position where we can put away more. But remember, this is the foundations phase, right? We're here. So in the foundations phase, focusing on being able to earn is a very big thing. It's not the same thing as in the legacy phase. That's what I was trying to pose here. Because you cannot save your way to wealth. You can save your way to an emergency fund, and someone asked, what's the definition of wealth? I came across an interesting one. Someone who, for 7 years, you can sleep, eat, do nothing else. And imagine you'll be able to go on holiday. You'll be able to meet all your expenses. You'll be able to sponsor someone to go to wherever. 7 good years. Those are 84 months. That's wealth. One definition, it's not absolute. Not absolute. But for 7 years, you don't need to lift a finger to do anything to earn money. We must see ourselves as economic engines. It's a must. We're an economic engine, and skills have a big part to play in this because they increase our output. And the better we can stack skills, combine technical, communication, leadership, it predisposes us to being able to earn more money. I don't know whether you guys have heard of this thing of where, as it's not the A students who, B students hire A students. Have you heard of that story? Yeah? C students, thank you, C students hire A students, right? So not even about being clever. It's about skills. Being able to present at the same time, you're talking about finance. At the same time, I can tell you about AI. Right? Stacking skills and combining them is what will enable you to drive your economic engine. Remember, in the foundation phase, for those of us here who are in the foundation phase, just some food for thought. On the tactical side, now let's get tactical. What is this that we can do if this is the phase that you're in? Commit. And let me tell you about studying and learning new skills. This thing about studying and learning new skills, it's not about always going to school and getting a practical course or getting a paper. It could be as simple as reading a book, going on YouTube, getting free education that you can use. Create a budget. Do we have budgets here, like generally? Do we normally budget our money? And how do we budget our money? How do guys budget their money? M-Pesa wallet. So you use technology. Okay, that's an interesting one. Excel. Anyone else? Let me ask you differently. Does anyone here, does everyone here budget? Budget. Do you have a budget that shows money in, money out? Yeah? In the foundational phase. Yes? But you guys are not in the foundational phase. The people saying yes. It's somewhere in the mind, eh? Hesabu ya akili. As a tactical thing in this phase, having a budget that allocates all your expenses and track that for 3 months, it's going to change life. For if we don't, even if it's in the mind, it's better to see it. I once read somewhere that every day you should wake up and look at your bank balance. It does something to your mind, eh? Yes, exactly. Na mwanaume ni shida. Eh? Stress. That stress is what will enable you to do something about what you need to do. Because if you don't, you leave it just there and it was on negative and the next day it's on negative more. How is it helping us? We need to look at that bank balance daily. Daily. At least here, for those of us who are not there, set a target to get to 3 months. It can be slowly, it can be over 12 months. But without a budget, you don't even know how much you spend. You wouldn't even be able to know. You'd say, I kind of, maybe. Then you find it's times 2. Let me give you a personal story. So, me and my wife were wondering, where does money go? Where does this money go that enters the pocket every month? Then I was like, it can't be, it must be school fees. It must be. It's school fees. So I sat down and I did a budget. And guess where it was going? Ndio, entertainment. More than 60% was going to Mwenjoyo with hiyo hesabu ya akili. Niko sawa? I'm okay. Yeah? 60% going to Mwenjoyo. What does that say? What gets measured gets managed. So having a budget is a very important thing. Then commit on the bare minimum, because we started by saying crisis and struggling, at least 5%. At least. And pay yourself first. You can get to 10, 15 when you get to the higher ranges. That's even better, right? If you can get to 30% of savings, that's perfect. Open a money market account. I'm sure all of us here know what an MMF is, right? If you don't know what a money market account is, these are investment institutions that take your money, invest in the government, and enable you to remove your money faster than if you did it by yourself. I recommend Sanlam because Sanlam is number one, Pan-African. And 2, they've merged with one of the biggest insurance companies, Sanlam Allianz Investments. Okay, so they're very reputable. And this is where your money will sit. That emergency fund is where your money will sit.
You can also invest in Gaba
Directly.
using thousands.
Yes.
So that you save that commission.
Yes.
It comes to you.
Yes. Fantastic. That was my next question. What do you guys think? Where else can we invest?
Next step, download thousands.
It's on a slide. It's on the slide for growth phase. The CSD is there. Wait. Hey. Apple, hold on. Here we are in foundation. First of all, I think personally, what you get out of a plot, the capital gains is a waiting game. There's so many people whose money is tied up in assets. So many. Dollar millionaires, but hawezi gusa hiyo pesa. And when you're in your foundation phase, that's not the place you need to be. You can start by buying a plot, but you need to be clear, what does the plot do for you? What is it doing? Because if it's to say, angalia, you can see, I have a plot. But kama ni hivyo, that's the objective. But for the point of having at least that you can survive for some time, if anything happens, if you lost a job, get some savings there. A plot is not the right place. My take. We should always look at things that can generate income for us when we're investing. My take. And for those of you who want to learn, this is a very interesting book that you can read. The first 20 hours, how to learn anything. Doesn't matter what it is. What he poses here is you only need 20 hours. It just takes us 10 years to get to 20 hours. Just the first 20 hours, right? A base level of understanding. And atomic habits, because we're talking about habits here. Okay, we're in the growth phase where DAO CSD comes in. Protect and multiply what you've built. Protect and multiply what you've built. So here we need to invest more, right? Create systems that will earn while you sleep. Balance ambition and protection. This is where we need to start thinking about different kinds of insurances, right? Does anyone here have a life insurance policy? Yeah. Anyone life insurance? Mimi sasa mimi niko mbali. I'm far from you guys. Yeah, because here at this stage, there are other people involved, right? There's family. You're playing a significant role. I don't like using the word black tax, you know. So we need to balance ambition and precision. The risk appetite is a bit less. Invest with discipline, not emotion. These are things, now we are tempering ourselves, right? And I want to introduce something very simple called asset allocation. There are different asset classes that form investments. So I list them out. Yep. So, yeah. Yeah.
And then when you talk to a lot of people, eventually, yes, they do their research. But when they have to make a decision, there's a lot of that. That is not an empty thing. It's based on layers of experience, knowledge, and understanding.
Nifafanue. Okay. Let me give an example. Tuseme that you've always wanted to own your own home, as we all do culturally, right? Lazima you own your own home. Sindio? You have 10 million here, imeshikana, held in your hands. The best thing that someone can tell you is, not yet, not right now, slow down. Give it another 3-4 years before you go and invest and build. Because also it's not just about apartments. We, as men, we want to see the work of our hands. Nilinunua simiti jana. Nilifanya hivi juzi. We want to see. And then there's this voice that's telling you, I just wait. Then we're at a gathering like this. And after the gathering, someone is like, yeah, you know, I've just moved into my brand new house. The architect gave me the keys. And that's the day you buy your first bag of cement. There are better things to do with money, and there are things that satisfy the heart. And as long as you can exercise some form of discipline in whatever it is that you do, and it serves an objective in your mind. And this part for emotion, I was being polite, not ego. Not things that drive you because someone else has done. Right? Because we're very competitive. Someone will tell you, you know what I did? I bought a matatu and I made so much money. Na unasema, even me. You know, even me, I have a lose 2 million. This is the growth stage. We have lose 2 million. Yeah. So we need to be a bit more disciplined. I'll give you a story. I don't know whether you guys have ever heard about the global financial crisis that happened in the States. Yeah, 2008. There's a guy called Howard Marks. He owns a debt investment firm. During that time, when the stock market was at its lowest, he deployed $500 million a week. One more time. He deployed $500 million a week to buy debt so that he cleans up the market for 6 weeks. Do you guys have the stomach even if you have the money? Do you have the stomach $500 million a week for 6 weeks. It takes a different level of character at a certain level of investments. It takes a lot of discipline because he was using principles to guide what he was investing in. He swept up all the debt cheap. The government went through a beautiful deleveraging. And over time, that investment grew for him. Warren Buffett did the same thing during that time, right? So the discipline part here is, he actually normally says, Warren Buffett says, when there's blood on the streets, that's when you invest. Not when everyone is there singing, this one, let's take this one. Yeah, I bought Safaricom the other day. You should buy it. It's on the way up. So that's what I mean by invest with discipline, not emotion. There's some skills we also need to build here. I don't know whether that answers the question. Clear? Any questions? When I say create systems, maybe this was not clear. Sometimes don't leave it to oneself. For example, when you want to save, just set up a standing order. Kusema ukweli. Don't leave it to yourself. Just set up a standing order to transfer money from point A to point B. So I was talking about asset allocation because asset allocation is a point. I didn't get your name, sir. MJ, right? MJ has brought up a bit about DAO, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen the slides that follow, yeah. But I think just to mention, yeah, investment and borrowing need not be like exclusive. You can invest and still be borrowing because you want a house and you don't want to wait until you're able to accumulate the 10, 15 million that you need for a house. Want the benefit of getting to a house today and pay for it over time. So you can budget. You still continue with the investments and borrow, but borrow responsibly, something that you can, because that allows you to get into a house. Because if you don't, first of all, if you say you will save until you are able to buy, the price will probably have
Gone up. Yeah. Yeah.
And in the meantime, you're just paying rent.
Making someone else rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a strong point. And in terms of even investment, real estate is an investment. It is. Yeah. Because it generates income. There are a few asset classes, stocks, equities, right? A share in a company. Another one, cash. Having cash on hand, your emergency fund is an asset. It just has a different use. We have bonds, both corporate bonds and government bonds. And they're short-term, long-term. Bills, short-term. Bonds, long-term. Right? Real estate is one of them. Commodities, gold, silver, grain. So there are different asset classes. We're not exposed to all of them here in Kenya, but there are different asset classes. So what is asset allocation? If your money had a job, where would you assign it? And I don't know whether anyone here knows what the asset allocation is offered. In terms of where your money sits when you've invested it. Do you have a rough pie chart? I would bet 80% of it is real estate, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. Because in Kenya, that's how we normally operate. Yeah? But there are other things that we can invest in. But anyone want to take a stab? Asset allocation. Do you know, if you were to put it on a circle like this, do you know where your money is? Do you know what percentage of it is in cash? What percentage of it is in stocks? Have you given Platinum Credit money through NCBA Capital? Have you given the government money? How much have you given them? It's important for us to know where our money sits. Because we may be thinking, as Robin, you've said, that we're making very logical decisions. But more often than not, we're over-leveraged on one side. And it's good for us to know, because we need to know, asset allocation is just saying, if things went bad, where is your heart okay? You know, some of these things, it's not always about what people say. Let me give you an example. And I'd like you guys to answer this question. If you have a 10% chance of making $1 billion, Bob, but you had to risk 10 million, would you take that deal? One more time. If you had a 10% chance of making $1 billion by risking 10 million, would you take that chance? In 90% chance of losing it, would you take it? Would you take it? 10 million. More than the 10 million. But so what are you leaning towards? So if you had another 90 million, your 10 million pocket change, tupa. If you had 1 million, apana. It just depends, eh? Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what that is, because each investment that we do comes with something called risk. Right? So asset allocation, you know why real estate in Kenya is a big thing? You can see it. Nenda wapi? Unless now you're like that guy in Parklands who lost his house because of the his lease expired. But anyway, besides that, it's generally safe. Do we have investment in the NSC? Guys buy stocks? Does anyone buy? Worst thing? Uh-huh. It's not a good thing to do.
The houses are very few.
Yes.
Then, like if you watch the movie, The Wolf
Of Wall Street.
then
Yeah.
you know that people buying the business too.
Yeah.
Stock brokers are very rich.
Mm.
We're trying to look at something we bought in 2006.
Mm.
And that portfolio, which is supposed to be long term, there's 20 years. It's actually never going to be that.
Mm.
So if you look at inflation,
It eats the return.
it's worth nothing.
Mm. See where beliefs come? Beliefs come and are very strong. And there's nothing wrong.
Not belief, experience.
You said something. You've said that, and the Wolf of Wall Street, the stockbrokers are the only ones making
I
money.
learned that after watching the movie.
Exactly.
After I invested.
Yes.
Not before. If I'd watched it, I would not have invested.
Yes. And by the way, as I say this, it's not a criticism to you. It's the beliefs that we have are a big thing. And it's also peace. If for you it's not peaceful, why would you do it? Doesn't make sense. Your money, you're earning it. Yeah. So that's a powerful thing. And here, the debate is not right, wrong. Not here to talk about that. It's just questions, right? I have personally benefited from buying Safaricom, but maybe someone else hasn't.
We lost
Hmm? So,
IPO 5 million,
yeah. And what is it worth now?
Yeah, but you have to wait, you have to use, because the same stock brokers told people to sell it at a loss.
Got it. Yeah, I've gotten it. That's another philosophical discussion if you'll indulge me. Yes. No, that's not theory. When I say that, I say it like this. Whenever you interact with someone, when I say it's a philosophical discussion, if you interact with someone whose interest is where you're deploying that money, chances are you'll always lose. Chances. A stockbroker will make money when you buy or sell. They don't care whether you prosper. Right? It will never happen that way. A financial advisor would want to get as much money through them to the end game. It's better if they have a fiduciary duty to take care of you, but most don't. So I totally agree with you, Gordon.
River mining, where is it?
Chini.
Chumi.
I think
We just answered the question. Have we invested in equity?
Mm.
Yes, we have.
And you've not had a great experience. Yes. And I think if I was to just maybe take a few steps back into what we've just discussed, the point of asset allocation is to hedge. Harry Markowitz, let's not have all our eggs in one basket, right? And if you're not a sophisticated investor, trust you me, what MJ you're saying will happen. In specifically equities, it's a zero-sum game. If me, I make money, you lose. But there are some practices that people go through. For example, most of the advice from these gurus say, just invest in an index. What is an index? An index is a basket of stocks that recalibrate and represent the market. Kenya's market is small, right? But we still have an index. Yeah. Banking na Safaricom. But that's it, you know. Like Safaricom market cap is half. Equity at least wanijaribu.
And then the result of that, is what? Is if I'm thinking about me, I'm like, the equity will be the 10. The 10%.
Thank you.
Because where my real world works is now what you were laughing at is I see a plot,
Hapo ndani.
I laugh with it.
Yes.
And the whole thing is very different from a lot of what you hear in this presentation.
Yes. With money, there is a place that we discount. You see that thing called peace of mind? Put it there right next to money. We need to have peace with the investments that we make. Yeah, that's why I asked that question. 10%, 1B, put 10 million on the ground. So this is just basically to open our eyes that it's not one thing.
That is missing from that side because I see we concentrated on financial investments here. It's side hustles, yeah. It's growing avocados, or my wife is importing clothes and selling to her friends.
Yes. So this is around the stuff that you're not directly doing. Like you're not there. You just put in the money. Then there's also what you can invest your time into. That is on the side of income. Like you can have a side hustle and all that. That was my take on this. And there's also alternatives. In asset allocation, there's alternatives, and business is one of them. So you're right. So it's just thinking about if money had a job, where would you assign it? And at the end of this, there's a book I'll recommend to everyone called The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, right? It teaches a lot about how to think around money and those decisions. Because peace of mind also has a part in your portfolio. You cannot be there, you've made an investment and you can't sleep. Yeah? So, for example, this is just generally, right? This is not, it's just for example. For example, it's not a recommendation. It's a for example. For example, you can have 60% of your money in MMFs, 20, 10, 10, or 40% in equity, 30 real estate, 20 fixed income, 10 cash, or 40% fixed income, 30 property, 20 passive, 10 giving. Okay? This is just an example, right? Because we are so many different people here with different needs. And we're all on different parts of this ladder. Yeah? So survival, stability, growth, freedom. This is AI generated. Why? That's why growth is there twice. So, yeah. Everyone is somewhere on this ladder. The goal is not to skip the steps, it's to keep moving forward. If you can step change, great. But the goal is to keep going up. Where are you today? Just food for thought for your own self. Where are you today? Just to think through, understand, where are you? Are you at the growth? Are you free? 7 years? Are we surviving? Are we just stable? Okay. And what do we need to do? Next steps. By the way, this one I just put it on there because I can't not say that. I cannot not put it. If you don't have health insurance, please. Health is something that can ruin your balance sheet so badly. Right now, in my personal life, I am seeing it happening. Okay? Health insurance. Not me personally, but people who are close to me. If you don't have health insurance, it's not a good place to be. Get a good life insurance cover as well. Start thinking about that. Would you want your family to be better off? I just recommend Centua because that's who I use. Determine your risk appetite, asset allocation strategy, and start investing every month. I think this is where MJ opened DAO, stock brokerage. DAO is to invest directly into the government. But more than the most important thing here that I'd like you to take away, determine your risk appetite, determine your asset allocation strategy, and start investing. As a call to action, just that. The rest is in case I don't want to leave it unsaid, right? And you can open the necessary accounts, download DAO, sign up, and you have a brokerage account for the government. And this is the book I recommend that if someone would want to understand a bit more, The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. Timeless lessons on wealth, greed, and happiness.
Do you subscribe to the 50, 30, 20 rule?
It depends. There's nothing that's wrong there. Yes, it's even part of my slides, although I think I removed it. Yes. So I guess 50 is around what it is that are your needs, wants, and haves, right? 50 is needs, wants, 20 savings. Yes, yes, that's fine. What I try and adapt is the savings rate, make it, depending on where you are, make it fit. Make it fit where you are. And me, the biggest thing I emphasize on is increase your ability to build your economic engine. That thing really helps because now your 50% can be 500,000, right? So I do subscribe to it. Any questions so far? Any contributions? Any comments? Any disagreements? What are you saying, Kevin? Anything deep? You're like, no. Oh, sorry. Yes, Gabi. We are now in the growth phase.
By the upside, I mean, if it's in the stock market being or it's a bullish and a bearish, we cover the upside where you have the stable income and certain savings and all that. But let's also talk about the downside of it, where we are in a hole. How do we need to stabilize the ship? Or what do we need to do to navigate?
Yeah.
Just survive.
Yeah.
Just to be above board. I don't know whether you cover it later or not cover it now.
We can cover it now. We can cover it now because I have a few thoughts around that. So whenever things are bad, the first thing ni kukaza mshipi, right? That's the first thing. Generally, when things are not going so well, life has to change. And I think that's a reality that we must all face. If you have an emergency fund, it won't change that much, right? If you don't have an emergency fund, that's when life becomes very difficult. And when you're in a hole, the only thing that I think, outside of having money to survive an X number of months, is your ability to invest in yourself. The 4 areas of your life: your mind, your spirit, your emotions, and your body. Those are the areas. I can't give you a practical thing now that will say, okay, this is step 1, 2, 3, 4. What I can say is when you're in a hole, first thing, depending on whether you have an emergency fund or not, behavior must change. We cannot continue doing the things we were doing before. Even if it's one beer, even if it's a samosa at break time, at work or not, right? Even if it's bread among gouache, because now I'm healthier, I'm eating gouache. Even if it's buying meat, when you're in a whole, behavior must change. And the biggest thing that you can do at that point is just invest in yourself. And investing in yourself means invest in your mind. YouTube has free. I'm sure anyone, even if you don't have internet, you can go to a cyber cafe. And in that cyber cafe, you can watch YouTube videos on how to do AI integrations for small businesses. And I'm sure in this group, someone can call someone else and be like, do you need some help with something? One thing, that's the mind. Your spirit, this is already a reflection of what everyone is trying to do here, right? This is a group of men who you can call brothers and fathers. So that's one area. And also pray. Number 3, physically, take care of yourself. Because when you're in a better position to endure hardship, when your body is in a better position to endure hardship, you'll endure. And the last one is emotionally. I know men, we don't like to talk about those things. But also emotionally, we need to safeguard ourselves. I don't know, Gabi, whether that covers that. Or would you want to get into more specific things? Do you have a specific example? Oh. Yeah. If, yeah. And in
Also, maybe just to add that the lines open for these, if you need a side chat and all that,
we can talk. I'd also like to pose that question to the older men amongst us here. Because we also have a fiduciary duty towards your fellow man. What would you guys advise? A young man who's struggling and in a hole.
it's easier to help a young man who is struggling and is in a hole than an older man who is struggling and is in a hole.
Okay.
because the adjustment that you're asking for people to make gets more difficult the older you get.
For sure.
You see, that's why I'm sure even as you have a conversation like this, that really is required to actually be a lot more. You want to really wrestle with it a little more. Because, of course, the more you get, the day you get into a whole, it's just so much adjustment to be done. And of course, it shocks the whole system. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Any other volunteers?
Maybe I just got an observation. I'm right at that threshold of what seems to have been growth and legacy. So it's very easy to look at strategy, creating your strategic investments as a young man. And 35 seems like it was just yesterday. Today, without a change in my skill set, in my growth career, I would have really struggled. But then, far from remaining in the construction industry, for instance, I moved into a totally different industry. And that would have been impossible if you had not set up from the original capital growth, at least in livestock, for instance. So it's always good, at least from my personal experience, to have one capacity to grow these things, because it takes time. But then number two, especially for the younger guys, the career growth that we had ourselves is very different.
Yeah.
The medicine, the architecture, the accounting is hardly there. So we have to tweak our minds to look at opportunities. And maybe you can also help us speak into the place of agriculture, because we are a land of agriculture.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Guys, these are there are 2 slides on this. I cannot talk about this. Okay? All I can say is there are keys being handed over here. Right? You're giving the next generation. Right? So it's just about building systems that outlive you. The only thing I can share here is I discovered about registering trusts, because I'm helping my family with something like that right now. And I think it's something that is very interesting to consider for everyone who's in that stage of life. So registering a trust where the trust holds everything you've been able to build and earn over your life. So just that, and planning for this, ati unauliwa ama anything, just that bit. Because in Kenya and in Africa, ni kama unaniwa. You start saying about estates, wills, and all that, okay? Then for us guys who are here receiving, mentor person skills. Yeah, you've seen it, you've been there, right? And redefine success beyond money. It can help younger men with this. These are the things that I would ask people who are in that stage of life. But beyond that, this is where I am limited. And if I spoke about it, to be very honest, I would be lying to you guys. Yeah. So I think we can just look at now, basically, as a summary of this whole thing. We have assets, we have skills, we have systems, right? Just a simple thing. Assets make money work. We've talked about asset allocation. Skills enable us to earn more. Systems, spend and save wisely. A budget is a system. Wealth, knowing how much your net worth is and tracking it as it grows, is a system. Okay? So these 3 sides support financial freedom. Lose one, the structure will collapse. Over time, keep strengthening each side over time. I have a few more slides. Practical tools. Then we can jump into Q&A. Some tools that we need. And I think one of the ones that we don't have is a net worth tracker. It'd be good to track your net worth. See it moving up or down. Okay? Emergency fund, debt snowball is just around if you have any debt that is in the range of 7 to 10 on that scale, that needs to be dealt with. Because it doesn't give peace. It's not part of peace. And then investment and asset allocation. Just knowing exactly what your appetite for risk is and investing accordingly. Okay? So a few tools: a budget, a net worth tracker, an emergency fund, debt snowball, clear your debt, track it, then investment and asset allocation. Okay? And I like the perspective of also investing in relationships, like what MJ you've said, investing in them. Because also, when you have people around you, there's that African proverb, when you're alone, you can go quickly. But when you are together, you can go far. Yes. So basically, this is it. In summary, build skills, make and manage the money, grow assets, and leave a legacy. Okay? And I'll leave you guys with one quote. The man who learns to manage what he earns will never be enslaved by what he lacks. And I think you can even if you're able to manage yourself, the wisdom you've spoken about, deep life insights, you should be okay. This talk was very difficult for me to put together, to be honest, because of the range. I would be happy to do something more specific if there's a need for that. But it was quite wide because I'm talking from many ages. Some have never been. So yeah, thank you. And any Q&A is appreciated. There was a very engaging session. You guys are wonderful, man. To be very honest, thank you. And to you too.